Da-da-da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. Let people know I've gone live. In the meantime, let me turn off my air conditioner. And let's open up the window this evening and get a little bit of breeze in here. Some things I could have thought of. But oh, that feels nice. Instantly feel the air flow through my apartment. Oh, very, very nice. I should have thought of that a little bit sooner. I actually have just had just like like a breeze when you first walk outside the door and the breeze hits you on a nice fall day and you go, oh, let's go for a walk. That's just the feeling that I had. I went for a couple of walks today. I just wanted to get outside and get some fresh air, ground a little bit. I don't know. I live in the city. I don't know how much I could say Mother Nature. I try and touch the trees and right have an experience if I can. And you get any little bit is something, right? And I really felt that need that I should get outside today, that I spend too much time in my head and I want to equally, right? I want to do that catch up, I want to do that pedaling and that serious movement forward, but at the same time, right? Cindy's missed. I have missed out on so many different experiences. And shouldn't I be able to, right? Like this trip coming up in 5 days. Oh, you guys, butterflies, nervousness. But everything is just falling into place, just nicely. And I'm really pleased with that. As you can see behind me, things are shuffled around but organized, right? Organized. That pile has not gotten any bigger, and it will not, and it cannot get any bigger than it is now, right? Otherwise, I'm going to have to say I failed myself by doing a little bit better than I did last year. I have to say, I failed myself already in the clothes department, but I'm going to blame it on that amazing storage, clothes storage container that I picked up at work for just a couple of dollars. It's magnificent, right? And it's magnificent is in how much I can get it, how much I can get into it. So, right, who's to say what the weather is going to look like? I have to say, last year, my outerwear was a lot better than the year before. I remember the year before when I left Winnipeg, it was well in the high 30s. And by the time I got into the mountains, oh my goodness, I was shivering all day long because I brought summer outfits. So a little bit more varying in the clothes that I'm taking this year. And recognizing too, I'm not gone just for a week. I am gone for 2 weeks. I'm taking that entire holiday, that entire time that I have off, and I'm going to give it all I have. In I don't know how I'm going to say relaxing. I didn't create this holiday that I'm going on in 5 days as something that I'm going to be relaxing in, but I am going to be relaxing because I'm doing what I love, right? I'm going to be out on the road. I'm going to be road tripping. I'm going to see some beautiful landscapes. I'm going to visit some small towns and cities. I'm going to leave every thought, every responsibility, everything I'm accountable, anything that I have to give thought to here in Winnipeg. And when I hit that road, right? It's me, myself, and I, and my camera gear, which is what I'm doing today. Is I was charging everything up. Right now, I have my wireless going, and I have my old Pixel here. So for extra storage, and this, right, the if I were to suggest a phone to anybody, I tell you, I just love the Google Pixel. And this Pixel 2 is my old phone. And I turned it on for the first time in, I don't know, maybe a year. And it was at 85% charge. So I'm just finishing the charge on that. And it had the correct time and everything. I'm going to assume over the night tonight it's going to update because it is attached to my Google account and my PC. So which I'm good with that, right? It's not a phone that I use for calling and texting, but it's a great phone that I keep around for for phone for extra storage for video, right? We have 2 weeks, and I know that my content will upload on the Wi-Fi, and I suspect some of it will, but I want to make sure I have more than enough. I think I have more than enough to start with. I have pretty much unlimited storage on my new one, which is also charging here. Oh, it should be charging because I have been on it off and on during the course of the day in between the projects that I am doing. This week we've been keeping the content kind of light. It's my wind down in preparation for going away. It's where I cut the umbilical cord with my brand, right? Visually, physically, right? It'll look that way. But I'll be filming my adventure, right? I will be uh, deep with myself. And in that, I'll be probably making content. On top of that, right? I just added my last 15 words to my book. I thought, right, it only took me a couple of hours to get the insights or the quotes or whatever I was going to use for each one of those powerful words. I was in flow at the time. I suspect that, being out on the road, that I'm going to come across some beautiful, beautiful landscapes. It's never failed me yet. And I can imagine myself sitting on a rock on the side of a lake in the morning, watching the sun come up with my book and working on those last 15 words. If 35 words, 35, 39 words took me a couple of hours to get done. 15 words might take me an hour if I am inspired and I am really in flow with the moment that I'm in, right? I suspect being on the road, doing what I love doing, right? And I love road tripping. I love sharing the outside, right? Because that outside is the evidence that you can create the best life for yourself as you possibly can. You can, right? I work a little part time job. It's the job that puts the roof over my head. And yet I have created, right, this magnificent Cindy, by Cindy standards, Disneyland, right? Mount Everest, going to Europe, or right, like, or when I was a teenager, going to Scotland was my dream, right? And I suspect I will get to Scotland, right? Because I was pretty adamant. I was pretty adamant in all my dreams, all my wishes, right? They do eventually come true. They've never failed. Sometimes, right, a little bit later than when I would have preferred them to happen, but they happened nonetheless. And I suspect my 15, 16-year-old dream, oh, probably much earlier than that, of going to Scotland, doing a trek through the mountains, touring old castles, going to Loch Ness and seeing if I can spot the monster, or, right, maybe entice the monster. And the monster, the serpent, right, the creature under the loch, to come to the surface. Maybe I'll sing to it, right? I don't know. These are dreams, goals, right? From the past. In this moment, are they my dreams in this moment? No, but they were at one time, and I suspect in that accomplishing of of right, manifesting a dream that I had 30, 40, 50 years ago, that right, that would make me feel pretty good, and that would be, I think, a memory, and it would be evidence also, right, of what you can do if you just put that effort into what you want to achieve. And that's how all of this started, right? It wasn't like I woke up and it was just all there, right? There was a lot of movement. There still is movement, and there will always be movement in what I learn, right? In those experiences, conversations, the lessons I take online, the mentorship that I take in, whether I do workshops or seminars or I'm out in the bush hugging a tree. There is always something for me to become comfortable in my relationship, even if I haven't the experience of that relationship in my life. I can feel that connection, right? I feel that connection. And so, again, right? Maybe it's an unfinished dream, right? Maybe it's a failed dream, right? Maybe it was failed in that I never thought I could accomplish it. And so, again, in that paddling, right, that I'm accomplishing. It's kind of like my bucket list, right? And each one of us has different things on our bucket list, right? I don't really have a bucket list. I go with what I'm inspired by, what I am drawn to, right? In really taking a look at some of those lessons and playing with those lessons and seeing if I can make some of those lessons manifest in my life, right? That's the evidence for me. But at the same time, because I show up here, right? It becomes evidence for others that it can be done, right? And you might not think that it could be done. Like, how could I possibly imagine that I could have saved the money that I did? That I could have sat down and applied myself and really thought about what would be an amazing holiday? What would be an amazing reward for me in keeping my butt in this chair, taking in lessons when I could have been out doing walks or visiting friends or making friends or visiting my family, or right, connecting and taking care of them, right, and them me. And they think I'm just being stubborn and standoffish, when in all reality I am applying myself. I am earning, and I have earned this holiday coming up next week. I have. And right, I have to revel in that, And I have to give myself a few little pep talks in that because, those feelings of undeserving do come up. And when undeserving comes up, guilt and shame is not too far behind. Grateful that I can kind of separate all those wires a little bit. And, right? When I really do start pounding myself, I'm only thinking about it now because I'm talking about it. But I tell you, as soon as the live's over and that switches is turned off, that is turned off, right? Grateful that I'm able to do that because lots of people aren't able to do that because, they have a thought, they have a worry, right? They have a concern, they have a sadness, they have a compulsion, right? But that's what it is. It's a compulsion, right? I just learned that worry was a compulsion. I just learned that worry isn't actually a feeling. Worry can generate feelings, but worry is just a compulsion. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. But it makes so much sense too, right? Right? Because worry is the anticipation of it, right? Yeah. Who wants to live day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute in that state of, right, anticipation of the shoe dropping? Hmm. Not not me, for sure. I've done that for way too long in my life. It has been a part of my life, a part of my day to day. And, it took some work, but I'm separating myself, right? Got a couple of years under my belt, a couple of lessons under my belt, and a couple of experiences under my belt. And it makes me feel better that I can, right, maybe take on a few lessons. Because in that evidence of feeling better, right, and being able to take on a little bit more, right? And maybe even look forward to making a little bit more movement. That's another part of this trip coming up next week. It's the celebration. It's the end of my fiscal year, right? This is the stick with the bag at the end. This is the reward for me. And whether anybody thinks I deserve it, even if I don't think I deserve it, this is for me. This is a gift, right? Not just a reward, but it's a gift. I only looked at it as a reward just to help me to be enthusiastic about the movement that I'm right making because I'm going to make it anyway. So why not, right? Sprinkle it with dazzle, amaze, rewards. And that's exactly what I've done. I've been at it today a little bit, but I have been taking it easy. But I can understand now it's time to go back to work. It's to ground myself in other responsibilities, other things that I apply myself. Grateful for that job to remind me, right? That it is in those small moments of putting in, right, the reps that we can actually see the progress. And those reps can be, right, all going at the same time, but all contributing to different aspects of our movement, right? I do it lots at work. Me and my head cashier, we were talking about it last week a little bit because I always have 4 or 5 different projects going on at the same time. I always get them accomplished, but I always end up with 5 projects because I forget that I have a project that I'm working on already. So the challenge is to get it all managed to be completed and tidied up. You guys, I could see something's going on with my live tonight. I don't know if it's my computer or if we're looking at possibly having a storm or if I got too many things plugged in at the same time. It's a possibility. I am on charge mode. I've got everything charging right now. So I wanted to just come in, right? Touch base, say hi. And you guys, I'll be in tomorrow sometime. And yeah, we'll have a conversation and I'll let you know where I'm at that point. You guys, have a good night.